With the introduction of the Teal Mask DLC in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, we were introduced to some new characters, this being Carmine and her little brother Kieran, both of which seem to have their own psychological issues. This being said, I thought it would be a good idea to put their mental state to the test to see if they could indeed become champion of the Paldea region. Starting with Kieran, who to me seems to be secretly the crazier out of the two. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Can Kieran become champion? Or should I say, can I become champion? And defeat that no-good Jules who destroyed me in Kitakami. Hi, my name is Kieran, and I own all of these Pokemon, which clearly wasn't enough to defeat Jules. Kieran, that's enough. Yes, sis. But yeah, the rules are simple, and on screen if you want to pause. This will be a hardcore Nuzlocke for an added challenge, and even though I'm a horrible trainer, according to, well, me, I'm still 200% confident I can defeat Gita. So can Kieran become champion of Paldea? I hope so for his sake. We don't need a repeat of last time he lost. The Naranja Academy. I wasn't supposed to go here, but it's a good thing I convinced Mom to let me. This also beats staying with Carmine back in the Blueberry Academy. Thank Arceus I cut my hair. Carmine was right. How can I battle correctly with hair in my face? Master Kieran, how are you? Master? Wow, they do treat you like royalty here. I also got you some starter Pokemon. These are nice, sir, but you don't happen to have like a Poliwag or something, right? No. I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye. What was that? Oh, nothing. Ah, great. And just when I thought I wouldn't have a big sister in this region. Now, I can't do the first real Nemona fight as all of Kieran's Pokemon are in Kitakami, and we don't get access to that until this point right here. So once Jack gives us the okay, we can head over to Kitakami to start finding our team. Hey, you having your psychotic episode too, buddy? I haven't had mine yet. Our first encounter for Kieran is a Yanma who I named Marvin, and we actually ended up getting speed boost for it, which is amazing. If you can guess the nickname theme based off that name alone, you're a goat. No, seriously, I feel like it's pretty hard to guess it off that alone, but some of you might surprise me. You know, I don't think I've ever used the Young Mega in my life, and I'm finding out now that it's actually a special attacker. The more you know. Oh man, Marvin really does have speed boost. Now before I can move on and catch more of Kieran's Pokemon, we have to battle my sister? Whoa, sis. That kid looks awfully like me. What the? Who is he, sis? I don't know. I'm kind of freaked out, Kieran. Kieran, I have to tell you something. You're adopted. Now believe it or not, we ran into our first big hiccup. Marvin is the only Pokemon I can get at this point from Kieran's team, and Carmine has 3 Pokemon, meaning we lost right there. So I have to come up with something so that Yanma can defeat her entire team. We also can't leave to go fight the first gym to get a higher level cap. But the good news is our next Yanma also has Speed Boost and Flying Terra. And at level 14, Marvin learns the move Air Cutter as well as us finding Oran Berries on the ground, and on top of all that, the Struggle Bug TM. The Struggle Bug TM can be found before this fight. I could also use Double Team, but screw that. So Struggle Bug can one-shot Pooch, we get a Speed Boost, and then we Terrasilize for her Vulpix so that Ember doesn't hit us for super effective damage. Although she did just use Spite. And of course, Poltergeist dies to 1 Air Cutter. Boom. I'm the best. Better than regular Kieran. With this, we can now go off to find a Centrate who I named Taz. He'll probably be the weakest link, but hey, he's a great companion. I did want to get one more Pokemon, that being Poliwag, but they were spawning right in Kitakami Road, where we found Yanma. However, if I just nudge a little bit into Mossville Confluence and make it encounter me there, then boom, we've essentially caught it there. I named her Lola, and unfortunately she had the Damp ability instead of Water Absorb, but what can you do? With 3 of Kieran's Pokemon in my pocket, I can now begin my journey to be the best there ever was in Paldea. Starting with Katie. Now, I didn't need to evolve Taz, but apparently he evolves before the cap. I wish Furret was like a fairy type, just for some added flair. Despite it being a simple design, it's super cute. And apparently it gets the move Coil. I had no idea. And because of this, I'm going to be using Taz to defeat Katie, just in case he doesn't get any action later on. This is pretty simple. All Taz needs to do is coil 4 times, and this will raise our defense as well, so a double kick from Nimble doesn't do anything. Not that it was doing anything in the first place. And we also have Citrus Berries in place for some added protection. And with Terrasalization, a quick attack ends up destroying everything from here. That was pretty fun. Taz does get access to Baton Pass later, so hopefully he will be useful then. From here, we can go to take on Cloth, which is why I decided to catch Lola beforehand. Lola can't do this by herself though, as Cloth has the Anger Shell ability, if he drops below half of his health, and that will raise his speed and attack. So to combat this, Taz can lead and charm this thing all the way down to -6. The only problem? This thing has the move Block, and for some reason, I was thinking that was Imprison. Nope, it means Mean Look, which means I can't switch out. So now I had to coil up, and at +4, I terrestrialized and started quick attacking. But Rock Smash lowers our defense sometimes, so he was slowly whittling us down. We did have an Oran Berry, but it didn't heal very much. The good news was when we popped his Anger Shell, which lowers his defense, in the process, he only used Vice Grip. I do think we would have lived the Rock Smash, but in case this next quick attack doesn't KO, Vice Grip was definitely better. Come on, Taz. Okay, that was way too close. I think I've been thinking this entire time that Block is like in prison. I'm a moron. On round 2, he never blocked us, so this time Lola was able to deliver the finishing blow on the Titan. Well, almost. Now, I don't really like using double team strats, but Sudowoodo could demolish us with a rock throw, especially with our mild nature. So after 6 double teams, Brassius met his fate with that big rock throw miss. Okay, never mind. He used Trailblaze. What the hell, Brassius? I have speed boost. After this, I decided to go catch a nose pass for Bombardier. Yosemite Sam is with us now. And thanks to him, Bombardier wasn't a challenge at all. Now, Giacomo can be a threat if you don't have a fighting type. However, I have the best fighting type in all the game, Furret. One Brick Break destroys Poniard in one hit, and the Starmobile is out. Just to be safe, I did make Taz use Charm, and we did that 6 times, and we also ate an Oranberry in between in case of crit. I was going to risk Taz's life by using Brick Break, but I didn't, and went into Lola instead, who took a big Snarl. I didn't expect that, but I did switch into Marvin, and Arceus was looking out with that big miss. The good news is Strugglebug will lower his special attack, and he's using Snarl instead of Wicked Torque, and also we get a speed boost every turn. Now, I did just have to risk Marvin's life eventually, and if it wasn't for those special attack drops, we would have been finished. But to be honest, I know Strugglebug doesn't KO from here. And by the way, we're maxed out on special attack EVs. Okay, maybe I didn't have to risk Marvin's life, as our HP invested Nose Pass tanks a Snarl. In the moment, I didn't take into account all those special attack drops. But yeah, 2 rock slides and that was the battle. Closer than I liked, but we came out on top. Giacomo looks like he could be my older brother. This man has wings for hair, and Kieran's hair is also a little weird, so it's not too far off. Once I arrived in Levincia, I searched up when Nosepass would evolve and completely forgot that in these games, it evolves with a Thunderstone, which just so happens to be right here in town. Hello, Probopass. And on the topic of new Pokemon, I went to go grab a Gligar, but I didn't evolve him right now. I named him Sylvester, and thankfully he had Ground Terra type. I love how for the little Iono gym challenge, it zooms in all the way in case you just didn't notice him. They made sure you got this right. I know it's a kid's game, but come on now, are we serious? Thanks to the DLC, we can now grab citrus berries with little to no effort. Before, you had to do 3-star raids for these, which I never did, but that's not an issue anymore. I can also grab the TM for liquidation here in Kitakami, near this waterfall. And this is great as there's not that many good weaker water type moves. In fact, I think waterfall and liquidation are the only 2 physical water type moves Poliwrath gets. Anyways, we can take on Iono, and she leads a Wattrel as I lead Sylvester. I am going for a cheeky sand attack strat, and although I got a bunch of citrus berries, I can't use them since Pluck will just eat them. This went pretty smoothly as she only hit 2 Plucks, and then I sent in Yosemite, who has Stealth Rock, just in case Quick Attack from Taz doesn't KO Miss Mages. Now I'm pretty sure it will since we're going to level up in battle, as well as Taz holding a Silk Scarf, but I like to be a little extra safe, especially when Luxio has Intimidate. I totally just realized Miss Mages has Levitate, so obviously this was for nothing. Forgive my stupidity. On the off chance Wattrel hits a spark like it just did, Rest is here in case she paralyzes us as it will remove the status effect. So from here I coil 6 times and you see it hit another spark, so I wasn't wrong in doing this. From here all 3 of our Pokemon before Miss Mages die in 1 hit from a quick attack, and now it was time for our little Weasel to prove himself once again. Gosh, I have a newfound appreciation for Furret. And right after this gym, we finally have a Poliwhirl who is short-lived because it evolves with a Water Stone, which we can get in Casa Rafafaka. I always forget the name of this place. Honestly, I wish I used Poliwrath more. It's a simple design, but he's so cool. Also, her shiny is amazing. Speaking of Lola, we're gonna use her for Mela. Basically, I wanted to Belly Drum, pop a Citrus Berry, and destroy her, but for this to work, she has to use Flame Wheel because her other move is Clear Smog, which if you don't know, will remove all my buffs. And that's exactly what she did, so Lola won't be sweeping here. Regardless, I did Rain Dance, and then a Liquidation just barely missed a KO on Torkoal. Now, I didn't mean to KO Torkoal with Lola, I just wanted to switch into Yosemite, but I did, and now the Starmobile's up. I'm not going to risk Lola's life, so I hard switch into Yosemite, who comes in on a Screech. Scary, but we never terrestrialized, so now we can do that with Yosemite, and this will make any of our fire-type moves resisted. And basically from there, 3 Power Gems were enough to take down the Rust Bucket. I knew Yosemite could do this alone, but I really wanted Lola to put in the work there. I guess it kind of works out though, as Lola was able to take down the Steel Titan with ease. But I mean, this thing is always easy. What's not easy is trying to find an Applin in one of these trees. It took me a long time just headbutting trees. But once we got one, we named her Tweety. I also caught a Seedot in Kitakami named Pepe. I immediately evolved both of them, starting with Tweety, which I needed a syrupy apple for, and then Pepe, who just needed a leaf stone. Kieran sure does love his item evolutions. Kofu actually isn't tough at all, since Pepe is a straight demon with Bullet Seed and the loaded dice item. Pepe ended up 1v3ing his entire team without taking a single point of damage. I put off having Pepe for a while now. I know how broken Pokemon is in the right scenario. He won't be broken in the next fight though, as Atticus is a poison type trainer. There's a couple things I thought of doing for Atticus, such as Belly Drum Lola or Baton Passing and Agility to Yosemite, but those are kind of risky because I can't set up specially with Yosemite, and Belly Drum is just too risky. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and Baton Pass in Sylvester, and by battling 5 trainers in Asado Desert, we can get access to the move Earthquake. It wasn't too hard either, as they were all in the 20s. Now I was going to use Furt as our Baton Passer, but apparently Lola gets it as well, which is kind of broken with Belly Drum, so I just had to try it. This is pretty ideal, as literally all that needs to happen is Belly Drum turn 1, and we need to get poisoned. The reason being is so that when we Baton Pass, we don't switch in Sylvester on a Toxic. I do have a Pecha Berry on him, but I need to Agility to outspeed the Starmobile, so we don't want it to be Toxic twice. So Lola Belly Drum's immediately popping her Citrus Berry, and turn 1, there goes that Toxic. So now Atticus won't use Toxic as we Baton Pass. And the good news is Sylvester is resisted to Venoshock. Now we just Agility once, and this fight is pretty much wraps. All 3 of his main Pokemon die to Earthquake, and the Starmobile gets 1 shot. I have no idea if I've ever done that to Atticus, but I will say that is the easiest fight I've ever had with him. That shit lasted less than a minute. Oh shit, Kieran and Atticus are twins. Maybe they're related in some way. Don't worry, Atticus. I'll be joining you in the nut house soon. I love how Larry makes every trainer scour the town for hints to the secret dish, and he does all this so he can finally sit down and enjoy his meal with some peace. But then there's me, where I just waltz on in, already knowing the recipe since I've done it a dozen times. Sorry Larry, no breaks today. Normally I would just be able to Belly Drum on Larry, but Lola won't outspeed Staraptor, so I did have to lead Taz to Baton Pass and Agility. And since he used Yawn already, he won't do it on our switch in. That Slam did do a lot though, and Belly Drum does take half of our health, but the AI more than likely will go for another Yawn, and I have a Lumberry on Lola. Looking back, this strat was definitely way too risky in this fight, so I'm glad everything ended up working out. Hey look! Finally, someone Kieran can actually beat. Beating Gita should surely boost my confidence. The Nemona fight after this wasn't too hard either, as it pretty much was the same thing. Except we didn't Belly Drum, but instead Coil on Taz, which almost killed him, but we don't need to talk about that. The reason I didn't Belly Drum was because 3 of our Pokemon have Quick Attack, which would put Lola at risk to be put 6 feet under. And nobody wants to be put 6 feet under, unless you're Kieran after losing a fight. By the way, Marvin finally evolved. I feel like Yanmega is an underrated bug type, at least for me. Sometimes I just forget that this thing exists. Although the last time we saw this guy was in Gen 6, not counting Legends Arceus, so that's probably why. Oh, and I'm also not gonna count the Space Wilds in Ultra Sun and Moon, since that's like super late into the game. Okay, I'm a whole idiot. I just bought a Razor Claw to finally evolve Gligar, but Gligar doesn't evolve with a Razor Claw. It evolves with a Razor Fang, and I've been putting off this evolution for a long time. Whoops. All I had to do was just go to Wistful Fields in this cave. By the way, I just noticed Kitakami is a different time of day when you travel from Paldea. That's a neat touch. Well anyways, with Razor Fang, Sylvester is now a Gliscor. You can't deny this Pokemon is easily top 10. And with our new Gliscor, we can take on Rhyme, which of course is super easy as she just gives you boosts. I led Marvin and Sylvester, as Sylvester can EQ both Mimikyu and Banette, and Marvin is immune to that. Banette does have Icy Wind, but it didn't do much, and although this did lower our speed, Marvin has speed boost, and Rhyme gave us an Omni boost. So on turn 2, both Mimikyu and Banette die, and then Toxtricity and Houndstone are out. Now Toxtricity does have Discharge, but since both of my Pokemon outspeed, it won't live to even get a little bit of static shock on us. And it looks like Houndstone was one shot by Earthquake, which I did not expect, but Rhyme defeated in 3 turns? I'll take it. Okay, this has gotta be my dad. He's got that same crazy head shake I got when I throw a tantrum, and he seems a little bit bipolar just like me. From here I went to go take on Donphan, and I'm trying to use every Pokemon on Kieran's team, so I'll be switching Shiftry and Dipplin every now and then. Dipplin actually just one-shot the Donphan with a critical hit Grass Knot. That was pretty impressive, Tweety. Honestly, Dipplin is a really cute evolution, but Appleton will always be my favorite. Arvin, you're a horrible friend. You know I have issues, and I'm a little crazy, and you're giving me, well, this stuff. Nah, bruh. It'll calm you down. I don't think it calmed me down. Now, I won't lie. I always overthink this Nemona fight right before Tulip, but it's really simple. We don't need to set up. Sylvester can one-shot Lycanroc with EQ, an Ice Fang and a Night Slash can KO Sliggoo, another Earthquake for Palmot, and for Meowscarada, we have the perfect switch on that Flower Trick, Marvin. Marvin is quad resisted to it, and can retaliate with a Terrestrialized Air Slash, winning the battle. I am surprised she outspeed and got off a Slash though. That cat sure is fast. Bro, Gliscor gets Crab Hammer? Since when? Ah yes, Leaf Blade. the normal type move. I love that move. I'm not even gonna give Tulip more than 5 seconds of my time. We swept her. A dark type is a free win for that fight. Grusha is up next, and despite Lola being a fighting type, she doesn't really get much through level up. So south of Artisan, I picked up the TM for Drain Punch, which I completely forgot was even there. Poliwrath is actually the perfect Pokemon for Grusha, and this is because it's quad resisted to Frostmoth's Blizzard, and resisted to Bug Buzz. Plus we have Belly Drum, and she gets the move Taunt, which will prevent a Tailwind going up. From there, Belly Drum is still risky, but with a Citrus Berry, we're completely fine. I will say I had to rearrange some EVs, so that Poliwrath's max HP is an even number, so that Belly Drum exactly goes to half and it would pop our Citrus Berry. If not, it would just be a little bit above half and we wouldn't be munching on that berry. Now, Blizzard would be very close to killing if that was the case, because we're a lax nature and have terrible special defense. 83 to be exact, and critical hits are always a thing. So just to be safe, I did that. And with that, everything got Drain Punched on Grusha's team. You know, I'm looking at Pepe here. Is this his body or his chin? It's kind of freaking me out. I've sat pretty hard thinking about how I should go about Ortega, and it's a combination of 3 Pokemon. Starting with the Chin Man himself, Pepe. Believe it or not, Pepe gets access to the move Will-O-Wisp. I don't remember this, but whatever. Azumarill is scary, having huge power, so this will nullify it greatly, and I pretty much always do this if I have a Will-O-Wisper. I did think of Volt switching late with Yosemite to get Taz in here for free, but I don't know how much that would do, and it might just KO the Azumarill after a couple turns of burn. So instead, I just hard switched into Taz, and that definitely hurt. From here, Taz just starts charming away until it's -6. And I did eat a Citrus Berry in between this in case of crit. Since we were pretty healthy, I did risk 2 coils so that we could baton pass that into Sylvester, as it gives us a defense boost as well. Now all Sylvester has to do is not get crit for 2 turns, and we're all good. We don't, and now we're +6 with the move Poison Jab. All 3 of his main Pokemon die in 1 hit, although Daxbun did Baby Doll us, which sucks. Now the Starmobile didn't die with 1 Poison Jab, and it wasn't going to at +6, but he just went for Mystical Torque, and it did happen to confuse us. I risked it, and everything was fine. Not much else to say there, except thank Arceus we didn't get crit. I wish I could get Tweety some more action, but it doesn't really have any setup. So here's Tweety destroying a Dondozo. And thankfully Arvin was actually helping with Tatsugiri, so Diplin didn't die. I love you, buddy. You're just, I don't know, slow. Guys, Kieran's team is amazing. I don't think I've ever had this smooth of a battle with Aerie. Literally just sent in Sylvester, who is resistant to both Poison Jab and Brick Break, so she can't poison us, and 2 Swords Dances later, everything gets swept because Acrobatics is so broken without an item. Just wow. This girl is definitely going to the nut house with us as well. So I heard you got issues you'd like to talk about. I see you get angry easily, sad easily, pretty quiet kid, and you also have a little bit of jealousy going on. Almost obsessive. Kid, you're bipolar. I'm not bipolar. Oh no, you are. And if you want to get better, you have to defeat the Elite Four and become champion. Well, that's why I came here, Rika. Now Rika is pretty simple since there's no setup at all. Pepe just has to terastallize, and with the loaded dice item, nothing can live a single Bullet Seed. And Donphan's Sturdy won't activate since Bullet Seed is a multi-hit move. 1 down and 4 to go. Poppy leads a Copper Aja, and I led Lola despite it having Play Rough. We're gonna do some Baton Pass strats into Gliscor, and to not die off rip, I will terastallize Lola, as we don't need to terastallize Sylvester. Worth mentioning, I had to alter the EVs again to be just at half HP to pop our Citrus Berry. Although Copper Aja with the Play Rough, so it didn't really matter for this fight. Now we just Baton Pass the max attack into Sylvester, and we can actually switch in on a Stealth Rock, which is nice. From there, we can set up our own layer of hazards, and she goes for a big Heavy Slam. We went for Spikes since Magnezone has Sturdy, and basically from here, Sylvester wins. I did bring Fire Fang for Corviknight, as it's a flying type, and I do have Wide Lens just so we don't miss. Magnezone dies to 1 EQ, Bronzong the same as Corviknight, and Tinkaton to an Earthquake. Looks like Sylvester is definitely the MVP of this run, and it doesn't end there, as we are going to use him again against Larry. We don't have to Belly Drum this time, as it does take a turn no matter what for Larry's Tropius to attack, since if it used Solar Beam, it would have to charge up, and if it uses Sunny Day, it would use Solar Beam on the 2nd turn, which is what it ended up doing. So after 2 Swords Dances and a big Solar Beam that doesn't even do half, we can still outspeed for the KO with Rock Tomb. I'm not sure why I brought Rock Slide as well, as we don't need it, and I think even with the Wide Lens, it has a 1% chance to miss. And knowing my luck, we'd probably miss. Anyways, from there, everything gets a bunch of rocks chucked at it for the win. Oh, hey, look, it's my bipolar dad as well. Now, Hassle is a bit of a hassle. The strat here is a little bit more controversial. You might be wondering why I'm leading my precious Marvin against something as powerful as a Noivern. Well, my friends, we're gonna kill Marvin. You heard me right. Noivern is too strong for anybody to set up on, but Marvin happens to learn the move Struggle Bug, which if you remember from earlier, will lower special attack. So all we have to do is use that 2 times and sack Marvin. Oddly enough, we did outspeed this Speed Demon, and we probably would have gotten 3 Struggle Bugs off if it wasn't for the crit air slash on the second one. I probably should have put the flying reducing berry in case it outsped on turn 1 and crit, but whatever. With that, our beautiful starter, the one that accepted me and my crazy flaws, has sadly passed away. But it wasn't in vain, as now we can get a big free switch into Sylvester. I know. Big surprise. The thing is just too good. With Noivern really weak, it actually ends up using Super Fang, and while setting up to +4, it missed the second one, which is great because I think I was supposed to put a Citrus Berry just in case, but I didn't. I did put Agility on Sylvester for Noivern, but we outsped naturally, so we don't need to use it. And from there, an Acrobatics KOs Noivern, an EQ for Dragalge, which I don't think makes contact, so we can't get poisoned. Flapple also dies to an Acrobatics, and then it's right back to Earthquake, taking out Haxorus as well as Baxcalibur. What did I say? This man's mood changes just like Kieran's. We're twins. Finally, we can see if Kieran, being the weakling that he is, can beat the weakest champion there ever was. And it pains me to say it, but we have to sack another Pokemon. This time being Pepe. I never like dealing with Espathra, so I usually always KO this thing, and this time is no different. Oddly enough, since Pepe's attack is horrid thanks to the modest nature, he has no move with the black glasses that is guaranteed to knock out Espathra in one hit. Well, except for one, and this would be a move added in the DLC. Lash Out. It has 75 base power, which is just enough to KO Espathra with the black glasses, as any 70 base power move that it gets has a chance to not KO. And because Pepe is out, Gita sends in Avalugg since it has Avalanche. Or Go-Goat. Gita, what the fuck? Why would you send in Go-Goat? You even have a psychic type move on the thing, which wouldn't work. Oh, it has Play Rough. Alright. I've come up with a new plan on the spot. My original plan was just to belly drum and sweep with Lola, as her team is painfully slow, and with Lola's speed EVs, we would outspeed everything. But since Go-Goat is out, I just Will-O-Wisp with Pepe. I did miss the first one, but a Play Rough didn't KO, and we hit the second one. Meaning now we get a free switch into Sylvester, who thankfully has Acrobatics and Earthquake still. This Go-Goat literally cannot do a single thing of damage. I mean, look at it. It's doing nothing. So we can max our attack on Sylvester, and the rest is quite literally history. Go-Goat dies to an Acrobatics, Veluza dies to an Earthquake, so does Avalugg, which was pretty close to not killing even at +6, and then both King Gambit and Glamora die to an Earthquake. I definitely wanted Lola to get the shine in there, but I guess Gita had other plans for us. And with that, Kieran has become Paldea's newest champion. So can Kieran become champion? Of course he can. He just needed a little confidence boost, and I think Rika prescribed him some meds so he can stay focused during that fight. Kieran's team was super stacked, and I didn't realize going into this that Lola and Sylvester were going to be literal carries, but Marvin and Taz did show up in the early game. I am a bit sad I couldn't really use Dipplin or Probopass as much, but slow Pokemon are just the worst to use for the main story. Aw crap, I forgot to catch Cramorant. How could I call myself Kieran? Stupid, stupid, stupid.